Hello everybody, this is JP3 here, coming at you with another Deathless, Painless, Exploitless run through Halo 2's Legendary difficulty. We're on playable mission number 12, the penultimate mission, High Charity. I'm putting this out now, partly because I need to for this project that I've been doing. I've only got 2 levels remaining, this one and Cairo Station, the very first. But it is really in honor of my main man, Mastalama, who is trying to do a single segment Deathless run through Halo 2, and a couple of nights ago he lost a run to some very, very odd RNG on High Charity. So part of the explanation for things that I will, part of what I'll be focusing on, I should say, rather, is some of the parts that are a lot more RNG in this level. But the reason why I've put off putting this out is that I got it in the first time without dying. I played it very cautiously. It's not very fast or sleek. Wasn't real proud of it, but I don't like this level enough, or have never liked this level enough, and didn't hear enough to go back and replay it through like I did some other levels that I got the first time. So this is a much less sleek performance. I don't know exactly why I went back to him. I think I was kind of exploring around, seeing if maybe there was something back there that I'd forgotten about over the years. Because again, when I've played Halo 2 since its release, even arguably, High Charity is one of the last levels I would ever choose to play unless I was trying to go through the game and beat it, or maybe for something like this, trying to get a Deathless run. So anyway, well, the Flood that come through here often have shields when they're elites, if not always. On Legendary difficulty, well, they have shields, and the Human Flood, you can see now beating up on the grunts, will have the normal gamut that they would run, but they can't have shotguns, of course, so you need to be very careful through this part. If you come over here, there's a rocket launcher, which is helpful at this next part, and also a shotgun. I have a lot of trouble in a bit trying to figure out which weapons I want to go with to leave this area. But right now what I'm doing is I'm actually looking around to see if there was any shotgun flood that ran towards me just then, and either the weapon has been lost or I didn't have any that ran towards me during the initial section. So like I say, right now I'm just kind of puttering around, seeing what weapons are around. So I probably should have went back and redid this level and put together a much sleeker performance. This is a much safer, more almost exploratory type performance here. So you'll have brutes that come through here first. On Legendary difficulty, it is very hard to get kills with any weapon against brutes the first shot, and that includes, unfortunately, the rocket launcher. So right now I'm trying to anticipate when they're going to come out, and they seem to be, I don't know if they're playing coy or if they are already engaged with the flood wave that will come out after them. I think I open the door here, and there we go, there's some brutes finally. So we're down to 1 rocket. I usually like to have a couple of rockets kill most, if not all, the brutes, and then a couple of rockets to kill the flood wave that comes through. As you can see here, we have an elite combat form, and then we have a human combat form that may or may not have been carrying a shotgun, or may or may not carry a shotgun. So use appropriate levels of caution. Now, I don't know if they've already dropped weapons, but I rarely see them come through without any weapons at all. So it's entirely possible that during the combat with the brutes, that they lost their weapons or dropped them. So with shields, oftentimes the best thing to do is try to stick them if you don't have a plasma weapon or the sword. But the shotgun works pretty well up close as well. Now, as you can notice there, one did drop a shotgun at some point, never getting close enough to fire it at me. So it's really up to your preference whether or not you want to take the sword with you or the shotgun with you in this type of situation. To be perfectly honest with you, it really depends on your preference or even your mood at the moment. But with that area cleared, we do leave the sword behind. You do not need to take the carbine with you because there is carbine ammo in this area. So if you're still having trouble deciding, then just take the sword and the shotgun with you, because you will have the ranged weapons you need in cases in this next section. But definitely take at least one close range weapon with you. So now we're going to deal with this part here. Drones are supposed to focus on Flood that are coming through the doors to the left. The drones will also be supporting a brute or some brutes, I can't remember how many, and they are attacking Flood that are coming through that door. From here, well, right now it looks like the Flood are just getting their butts kicked. I usually like to focus on taking out the brute, and then I like to let the drones do enough damage, or as much damage as I can be patient to let them do against the Flood. The Flood come through, as you can see, in waves. Eventually they will stop. Once enough of the drones die, another wave of drones will come through to the right. This is the very same place where you saw the initial wave of drones. They almost always exclusively focus on the Flood unless you start shooting at them. There are Flood alive over there. However, this game hates me, or hated me at least at this point, and decided to send them all my way, even though I was quite far away from them and had not fired upon them. Very unusual, very unique. Not a problem, really, because we got plenty of beam rifle ammo to take them out. It's just annoying and takes up more time than it should. And I apologize for any poor shooting here that might be evident. And as you can see, they're playing pretty coy here, which is really annoying. I don't know if you can tell, but we will see it in a minute. There are 2 Flood alive over there. And then the near undodgeable needles there take our shields down, further delaying the inevitable, which is us killing. Oh god. Now I remember why I put off posting this, and probably perhaps why I put off and ultimately did not even want to play it again. Yeah, that works. Just spam whatever weapon you have. There's quicker and better ways to do this, but again, I didn't assume that I would get through it the first time without dying, and of course also, I guess later on, assumed that I would replay it. So we finally nail the headshot after de-shielding and taking the arms off of that combat form, and now he's running around because Flood are sentient of whenever, I guess, someone's shooting at them with a sniper rifle. Oh god. You know, I should probably just float right on over there and take him out. But this is by far, of course, as you can imagine, the safest way to handle this guy is to not tangle it with him at close range. I don't know, maybe he didn't have a shield, or at least maybe I didn't give it a chance to come back. So there is carbine ammo over in the other section, and you definitely want to take the beam rifle with you here. So take whichever close range weapon you prefer and hold on to the beam rifle. So notice how everything's dead over here. Ultimately, we played this really safe, so no need to worry about any problems, as all the enemies that would come from here or the drones that would fly to here are, of course, dead. I play most of this in the anniversary graphics because I've never really, again, I haven't played this level so extensively that my familiarity with it is based so largely in the original graphics. So we get to see a little bit of the beauty that that effort to put out an anniversary edition of this campaign offers. So 3, as you can see, come out there. If you shoot a little bit better, you can take them out just a little bit quicker than that. Definitely stop right there and do not trigger this wave of Flood to come through before you take out those drones, because these guys can be a handful. You throw a grenade right in the middle of them all, and either, in that case, it seemed to go right through 3 or 4 of them's legs, or it probably wouldn't have done enough damage to really kill them anyway. But the good news is that it looks like our efforts at least resulted in them losing or dropping weapons, and they weren't really that big of a threat. As you can see there, that was mostly, and this is usually the case, mostly elite combat forms that have been transformed into the Flood, and so no shotguns or rocket launchers coming through there. You can, through here, get Shotgun Flood and Sniper Flood. If you get Sniper Flood, just think of them the same way you would a Sniper Jackal. They fire with the same exact degree of accuracy and 360 no-scope BS and all that stuff. They do all of those things the exact same. For some reason, we have got a Flood that has either dropped his weapon, or I don't believe that he would have spawned with no weapon. So he either dropped his weapon during the midst of the attack, which they sometimes do, or had dropped it as a result of being attacked by some other enemy in the next room. Yep, he dropped his BR right there. And we've got a Shotgun Flood right there that completely ignores us. And we've got an elite combat form that does not. This Shotgun Flood has already dropped his weapon. When I shoot at Flood, I shoot at their left arm, or in their left arm area. That seems to be where they're holding, or sorry, their right arm. My left. What? Yeah, I shoot at that, and usually that provides you with a pretty decent chance that they will drop their weapon. So I'm breaking up these bodies and really just playing this ultra slow through these hallways, and part of it again is being careful, but another part of it would definitely have to be chalked up to just kind of exploring, seeing what's out here, what kind of weapons might be lying around. So I do apologize for the delays. Hopefully my commentary is engaging enough to keep you from leaving as I look around for the shotgun that I dropped. So this is an odd choice, is to go with the low ammo carbine and the relatively low ammo shotgun and drop the sword off, which is really helpful for breaking up the bodies that can be infected by those infection forms. Oh, and I picked up some shotgun ammo there that was dropped earlier, so now I have a full shotgun, which is really nice. I think this infection form, yeah, it takes him out. Oh, wow. A rare hit there with a regular melee attack on an infection. Oh, 2 in a row. Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was rusty like I am in Cairo Station, which I'll post soon. I wasn't rusty necessarily playing through High Charity, but certainly was playing it, again, a lot more cautiously and a lot more, well, here I'm forgetting that it is nearly impossible to break up these bodies with the shotgun. The sword, however, would have done just fine if I would have held on to it. I know that there's a wave of flood that can come through the back, but sometimes you can prevent that from happening if you walk through the halls in a kind of slow and plodding manner the way I do, and you may see the enemies spawn through that normally would be from behind if you were moving a little bit faster. I'm not really sure if maybe that's what happened, if I had already engaged that spawn or not, but I will admit to a level of forgetfulness and general ignorance or apathy with respect to some of the ways spawns run in this game, or in this level, excuse me. Now, one thing I do know, however, is that going through these hallways, you can encounter sniper flood, and you can encounter shotgun flood, and that can be pretty... Here we go. So they spawn from behind here. If you break up the bodies well enough, then you can obviously prevent them from causing you much of a problem. Now, notice how I shot this body with the shotgun many, many times, yet it is going to reanimate. So definitely want to hold on to a sword for that kind of guy. Still won't work, JP3, so move on. Oh, boy, I tell you, that's good RNG. That's good RNG right there. If he'd had, I don't know. Not sure what killed him there, but I don't know. Maybe my guy blew on him. He just fell over. You can break up the human bodies with a shotgun with 3 or 4 shots, and as long as there's enough ammunition for it, then you're pretty good. I'm not sure who dropped that shotgun, but I'm glad whoever had it didn't shoot me the same way the BR guy did. I would have been dead meat. So there's your first first real taste of what the RNG can be like here. So here, you're dealing with mostly Covenant at this time, so at this part of coming in here. Now you can speed through this and avoid a lot of issues, but without a plan you can get in trouble, because on the other side is a Jackal sniper. And so until the Flood come through and start distracting the Covenant here, you have obviously a very decent chance of being sniped by that guy. You can also of course be killed with the very quick time to kill that you have when you're dealing with, oh gosh, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear the Jackal sniper firing, and I don't think it's firing at Flood yet. So this is probably one of the consequences of not going through this level and not being as familiar with it, because again, not one of my favorites, not one that I have studied extensively at all. This level is an easy level unless you're trying to speedrun it and or go through it deathlessly. Otherwise, it's pretty easy. The checkpoints are fairly generous. The RNG is such that, you know, once you figure out what's coming, you can prepare for it pretty well. It's not a long level at all. It's just, you know, in general, it's just not a good level in any way, shape, or form, and it's certainly not a hard level, unless, again, you're trying to go for a deathless run. I just happened to get lucky.
Parasite did not defeat the Forerunners, and it shall not defeat us.
Arrogant creature.
So notice how we killed the Jackal sniper that was focused on something else over there, and now we've got a berserking brute who could probably easily be surpassed at some point around this area. Not really any need for us to hang around and play this too carefully here. And since we're getting very few, if any, headshots there on him, those bullets just sink right into his carcass. But there's the headshot we were looking for. Now, I think at some point here, I did try to look for that. Oh, yeah. I was looking to make sure he was definitely dead and not hiding somewhere. Oh, hello. Get rid of him. All right. So this part is more of a flood-filled area, and there is a rocket launcher wielding Flood member that's supposed to be on the bridge that's to our right. If I was to be speeding through here, I would probably go up and try to get that rocket launcher. I don't see where he's at. I don't know where he's at. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe this video will prove that there's maybe a slightly higher chance he's not hanging on that bridge, but I'm not really sure if that's what's going on here. It may just be that I kind of triggered this room's enemies to spawn, but in being really, really slow and cautious and exploratory, he had time to move to another spot, perhaps where Covenant were, or perhaps on some random path. So I see a Flood member there that is holding the rocket launcher. He didn't see me as I opened the door. That was another thing I was surprised by when watching Mastalama's run. I hope I'll remember. I'll link it in the description. Is that I don't think I've ever been killed by this Flood before. He seems to be very slow and unconcerned with taking you out with a rocket launcher. Compare that to a Halo 1 Flood member with a rocket launcher, and they'll fire it no matter what. No matter what's going on. I should mention that I am playing this on the Xbox One and using the Xbox One DVR. It only records for 10 minutes at a time, so the pauses you see there are reflective of that limitation and not reflective of this being some sort of multiple segment run of this single level. This is all in the same segment. It's just gonna have to have those pauses in it there. So anyway, I thought that was the rocket launcher flood, but I might have been wrong, or maybe his rocket launcher fell into the geometric abyss. So as you can see here, now we have some flood around and some wonderful little drones to have to deal with here that can eat you alive and kill you really fast because their accuracy is completely stupid, given that they are an organic and they are not standing on firm ground when they're firing. Nothing organic should be able to fire that accurately, but because that was never tuned, drones are inordinately more difficult to deal with than they ever should be. If we'd have kept that, if we'd have found that beam rifle, which I think I was considering earlier, I could have taken them out a lot more easily. So I'm not sure where the rocket launcher guy is, but I've never had a problem with him, and I think part of the reason why is because when I do play this level, I do tend to play it much more cautiously and steadily, simply because I don't sit around playing this level a lot. So here we go. We've got a brute shot wielding elite combat form, which is really stupid because in Halo 2, you don't see flood of one species carrying the weapons of another species. So I'm going to show you a trick on this part that has always worked for me. I cannot guarantee it will always work for you, but it's one that has served me well and makes this room one of my least, I guess one of the least feared that I would ever face in Halo 2. I really am not worried about this room. Again, I'm not speed running it, so I do a trick kind of that I think works. It's always worked for me. I've done this for a very long time, and it's probably something you've either never seen before or maybe you've done before but didn't understand what was actually happening. So as soon as I get to the top here, I take a quick look around and just kind of see what's going on. This grunt notices me right away. I really don't want to shoot him, but he is dead set on killing me. I'm not going to go much further, and I'm going to get right here. Now, you might think that the reason why being right here is valuable is because I've got this big piece of cover here, and that would be one reason that this is valuable. But there's another reason too. When you're standing on this ledge, there's something about your positioning here that confuses the AI. It seems to make them think that they can't path to you properly. That's my best guess. And if you're here, the flood that come out of the vents and the Covenant tend to focus on each other. If they see you, they might look at you and just kind of stare at you. This reminds me a lot of a principle that goes on in the Halo Reach's firefight, but I won't go into that at all. But my point is this, is that by standing here, the enemies do what they're supposed to do. You know, this becomes an interactive movie wherein I get to watch these guys fight. Now, as you can see here, I am drawing some attention, so having this big piece of cover here is all the more valuable, because all I have to do is stand like this. They will not run over here, so all I have to do is stand next to this post and then just wait for the enemies to kill each other, or notice each other. The only problem that I have here is that I didn't prepare very well and come with enough ammunition, at least for ranged weapon fire. So he's got a shield, which means he's going to take an effing buttload of time to kill. But it really doesn't matter. Now, I've never been sniped here before. I have been sniped when I've been out in the open playing in this level. There are flood snipers and invisible flood that will come through as well, but they just, again, they all tend to focus on each other more so than me, and they tend to miss. They don't seem to know what to do. I should have went into the old graphics to make sure there weren't any invisible flood. It's a lot easier to see them in the old graphics. But what I'm noticing now is the outcome that I wanted. I wanted the flood to win, and that way I can easily take them out with a shotgun or this needler or anything else, because I did not bring the rocket launcher with me. You do not need the rocket launcher for this strategy. And if you need the rocket launcher for for this room, then that means you gotta get maybe a little too close and a little too personal with that rocket flood in the second in the room we just passed. So there we go. He'll die after 47 needles enter his body, and this one is able to dodge the needles perfectly. But no match for the shotgun. And that is this room. I'm not going to guarantee you anything, but I've never worried about this room with this strategy, ever. It's not something I worry about at all. The Flood usually win. I don't remember the last time a Sniper or Invisible Flood, Sniper Flood or Invisible Flood was still alive. It seems to be the elites with the shields that stay alive, and so that they're able to survive. And so you saw where I had a couple of them to deal with there. Not a big problem. Now for the final area here, not this area, but the one that's upcoming. I like to usually take a sword and certainly the beam rifle with me. So I might be a little stupid and stick with the shotgun here. And when I say stupid, I do mean stupid. It's better to take, there's actually shotgun ammo that I just passed up. I don't know if I go back and get it. Right now, again, this, just to give some context here, I was doing some more exploration for this level at this time when I was playing it. So forgive me for looking in every nook and cranny, and making sure that I didn't forget about any one particular weapon or bit of ammunition. So full shotgun, there's a full sword on that pedestal there. Feel free to grab it. I probably would in retrospect, but you definitely want to have the beam rifle. And when you're going up this grav lift, there is a skull here. I believe it's the skull. I can't remember which one. I think it's the one black eye, I think. I don't remember for sure, but either way, just hold down on your grab button. For me, with the bumper jumper controller configuration, it's B, I believe. Alright, so fun times here. So I like to locate the sniper as soon as possible. Unfortunately, even though they are scripted, I think, to do so, these idiotic piece of crap brutes decide to focus on me. How I survived this, don't ask. I don't know. Again, this is a great example of why this level is much easier than it looks unless you're trying to run it deathless. If you're trying to run it deathless, or if you're trying to speed run it, then this kind of crap really becomes a problem. So there's some ways around a lot of elements of this level, a lot of areas here that can be speed ran in this entire level, much less here. I don't use them because I had kind of swore not to do that, so I'm going through the hard way here, and this is the hard way. But just as the brutes and the Flood start to focus on each other, I take off here. I've got somebody following me, but all I've got to do is jump off. Don't know why I waited to jump off at the center. You don't have to do that, but that's it. That's high charity for you, and it's an RNG-fueled nightmare. Again, easy level if you don't mind dying and restarting at a couple of checkpoints, but quite painful for players that are speedrunning or explicitly trying to go deathless, because as you saw, a couple different areas where the RNG was pretty high, areas where I got lucky. But if you have any other questions about this level, or have any other questions about how to run it successfully, at least just getting through it and completing it, then please feel free to leave comments. If you like this comment, please like, and of course subscribe. This is JP3 signing out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very, very much.